The free agency frenzy is underway in the NFL going into the 2025 season, and one of the bigger, more surprising moves that was made early in this process was Justin Fields was signed to the New York Jets for 2 years, $40 million. And first of all, what I will say is Justin Fields better thank his agent because that is an incredible deal for a player given what he endured last year. And when I say that, he had a good start to the season. Like the first 4 games that he played, or 5, or however many he started, he looked capable, he looked comparable, he looked like he was able to lead a team with the right personnel to wins. And I thought that he did a really good job at that. But obviously, when Russell Wilson came in, he had a bit more of a spark. Fields was then benched, didn't play out the rest of the year, was in situationally. So the fact that he was able to get $40 million over 2 years to a new team, that's a pretty dang good deal for Justin Fields. But the more we look into it, can he work with the Jets? And I think that Justin Fields has a lot of potential. If you look at the athleticism and the playability, he's got it. I mean, if you look at the running that he did in Chicago, he didn't really show. He showed spurts of it in that time, but there wasn't enough of a sample size in Pittsburgh for you to like really see the full capabilities. But you saw it in Chicago. He's got one of the better YouTube highlight tapes of him just making plays that you'll see. The problem is when you're playing quarterback in the NFL, you need to be able to sit in the pocket and deliver in crunch time. And that's something that he has struggled at. He has struggled in go either way games, close games, end of drives, when trailing. I think you learn a lot about a quarterback on how they play when their team trails, and he hasn't played very well at it. Now, obviously, he is a younger quarterback. Not a lot of younger quarterbacks play well when they're trailing. I understand that. But if he wants to come into the system and he wants to turn this around and become a longtime starter for the Jets, he's going to have to really focus on his abilities in the pocket. And if you look at it, that's why these guys like Jaden Daniels and Lamar Jackson are so dangerous. He's in that class of athleticism. He is. He's definitely in that class of athleticism. He's probably more athletic than Jaden Daniels. And I think him and Lamar are obviously different forms of athletic, but there's certain bursts that he has where it's pretty crazy what he's able to do. But if you look at it, both those guys, Lamar and Jaden Daniels, you don't question their ability to throw the ball in the pocket. With Fields, you do. So he's going to have to figure that out. He's been known to take a lot of sacks. I think he played really well early in Pittsburgh in the early weeks, but I think the Jets is actually a pretty good landing spot for him. Now, I would have liked him to go to a team where it was an offensive-minded head coach. Usually, if you're a quarterback, especially a younger quarterback, which Fields is still in the younger quarterback class, if you're a younger quarterback and you're able to get with like an offensive guru, genius kind of head coach, then you have a lot more potential to succeed for sure. Just given, you look at a guy like Sam Darnold, who kind of had dysfunction really early in his career, goes to Minnesota, has Kevin O'Connell, one of the better young offensive minds in the game right now, and all of a sudden he was able to have this great year. He gets a big contract in Seattle. So that's a key factor, I think. But if you look at it, I think the Jets' culture is going to be stronger. I like that he's teaming back up with his former go-to wide receiver at Ohio State and Garrett Wilson. And Garrett Wilson is one of those guys that floats around the top 10 wide receiver conversation. He has done a lot with a little at the quarterback position. So I think that is a good mix right there. I think that if they still have Breece Hall going into next year, I think Breece Hall has shown flashes of being one of the better backs in the NFL. So you have potential there. They need to make some adjustments at the O line for sure. But I think that if he is able to embrace throwing the ball in the pocket more and he's really able to dive into that culture and Garrett Wilson is able to give him the boost that he needs, I think Justin Fields can succeed in New York. I'm not gonna sit here and definitively say whether he is going to succeed or not. And I think it's more of an indication of I need to see what this team looks like through like 4 games. We'll know pretty early. You'll know pretty early if this is going to work through about 4 games, whether Justin Fields is going to be the guy or not. It'll be very apparent early what the culture is going to look like with this team, where they're going to be. And if you're the Jets, the only possible outcome is up from here because it has been bad year after year, especially last year. That was just brutal. You have a high draft pick if you're the Jets. You have a lot of things on your side at this point. And I think that they should go tackle now if you're the Jets. I think it's if you're paying Justin Fields that level of money, the plan is for him to play. You can just tell given the contract. At that point, especially a quarterback of Fields type, you're going to want to protect him with the right offensive personnel up front. And that's why they're going to probably get a no lineman with this pick now. I had previously thought that maybe they could go with the tight end from Penn State, but that doesn't really give them a lot of help at this point now after looking at this edition. So I think there's a lot of different possibilities for the Jets. This is a team within the New York Jets that has just not been able to find their footing. It feels like ever. It feels like in my entire life. They had that little run in, I believe, 2009, 2010 with Sanchez and Rex Ryan, where they went to back-to-back AFC title games. But other than that, it's a team that just really can't find their footing. And they're hoping for any kind of success that they can see. They're hoping to get back to the playoffs, get back in a position where they can actually be looked at as a legit team. And I think with the head coach hire, I think with the passed on abilities of Justin Fields and having a high draft pick early, I think this is a team that can definitely turn it around. I'm excited to see kind of where they go. Obviously, Fields was a great, tremendous college quarterback at Ohio State, a guy that I think at his full capabilities could be a really solid pro in this league. But it's going to come down to how much work he is willing to put into it. And if you look at it, early Chicago years, had trouble escaping the pocket, had a defensive-minded head coach. It was kind of rusty there. Early in Pittsburgh, you saw good success. Didn't see it play out because he was benched by Russell Wilson. Now, give him the keys, see how it goes. If it's going good, keep riding it, see it through, and I'm excited to see how he does.